All right, thanks so much for joining. So today I'm going to show you how you can create these really cute coupon books for love coupons, either used for Valentine's Day or birthdays, Father's Day, really whatever you want. You can obviously also use this as a template and make any changes or modifications. Instead of love coupon, you could say Matt's coupon, or whoever your significant other is, giving this to them. So again, you can use this more as a guide or an outline to creating your own coupon book. A finished version of this looks like this, where you can essentially, and I made a couple changes since I took this picture. I added the white borders and things like that, but basically you can just go ahead and cut these out with a paper cutter and then put the two little holes here and put a little string there. And again, it's a cute little coupon book, and you can obviously create as many coupons as you want. Before we go ahead and get started, the idea for creating this coupon book actually came from my YouTube channel. I have a number of other videos, everything from creating custom invitations to raffle tickets to chalkboard posters, creating circular tags. I did want to point out that I do have a video for searching fonts, installing fonts, and using symbols. If you do not know how to download and install new fonts, I would highly suggest watching that video. It will walk you through everything you need to know of downloading and installing new fonts. I do use some unique fonts for this particular video. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. First thing we want to do is we want to click on File, New, Blank Document. And we want to go to page layout, and we want to click on margins, and we want to say narrow. And again, that just gives us more real estate to work with. Next thing we want to do is we want to insert a table, and we want to go 4 down. Okay. So now that we have our table, we see up here we have this little cross with the 2 little arrows. What we want to do is we want to left click on that, and we want to click on table properties. When we click on table properties, we want to click on row, and then we want to click on specify height, and I made these 2.4, and that's because I wanted to put 4 per page, and 2.4 was the correct height in order to have 4 per page. Okay. Next thing we want to do is we want to click on column, and we want to make this 6 inches. Okay. Obviously, if you want to make them shorter or smaller or taller or wider, whatever you want to do, you can use this as a guide and make any changes or modifications you want. Let's go ahead and press OK. All right, now we have the basic overview, and if you wanted to, you could kind of move this and center this a little bit more. But now we want to once again click on this little cross with the 2 arrows, and we want to left click again, and we want to click on table properties again. This time we want to click over on the table tab on top, and we want to click on options, and we want to click allow spacing between cells. And what this does is gives you sort of a place to cut in between the different coupons. And I'll show you what that means in a second. So let's go ahead and press OK. Now as we do that, we can now see that we have sort of this space in between the cells. And again, this is going to give us a nice line to cut in between the different coupons. Okay. Next thing we want to do is we want to right click, and we want to once again click on table properties, and we want to click on borders and shading, and we want to remove, oopsies, we want to click on borders, I apologize. And we want to click and remove this outside border. Okay, did you see what I did there? It says apply to table, and by default these are selected, and you just want to click on these sides. I'm just clicking to remove those. And let's go ahead and see what that looks like. Now, as you can see, when this prints out, you're just going to see the individual cell boxes. Okay, so now we want to do some more modifications. We want to once again left click and click on table properties. We want to once again click on borders and shading, and the color of our borders, we want to make this gray color. And we want to say apply to cell, and we want to click on all of these cells. Okay, you can also click in these boxes if you wanted to, different ways of doing that. But basically you want to ensure that, again, this is apply to cell, and you want to be sure everything is selected there. All right, now we have this nice gray border, and again, we're going to have a nice clean line to cut in between the different coupons. Finally, the last thing we want to do is, again, left click and do table properties. And we want to once again click on borders and shading. This time we want to click on shading. We want to do a fill color of red, and we want to do apply to cell. Okay, again, that apply to cell right there. I've been told in the past I go too fast in my videos, so I'm trying to slow it down a bit. We want to click OK, and we want to click OK. Now we have the start of these nice images, okay, or these nice coupons, I should say. Now what we want to do is we want to get sort of this cover of this red and white chevron. So let's go ahead and go here. I like to use Google. If you like to use Bing or Yahoo, feel free to use whatever search engine you want. I'm going to type in red and white chevron, and I'm going to click on images. This was, I think, the image I used, but you could really use anything you want. And I want to right click and I want to do save picture as, and we can save it as red and white chevron. Okay. Next thing we want to do is we want to click into this first cell and we want to insert picture, and let's insert this red and white chevron. Okay, now obviously this is not what we want it to look like because this image is way bigger than this cell. So what we want to do is we want to ensure that this image is selected, and we know it is because we see these little white squares around the image. We want to right click. We want to right click. And we want to click on wrap text, and we want to say in front of text. Okay. Now when we go in front of text, what we want to do is we want to click on crop. When we click on crop, we can see this little black T. And if you see here, there's the cursor, and now look at the cursor and it turns a little black T. That's what we want, and we want to left click on your mouse and drag that up till you see the start of your cell. Now from here, we can very easily just move this over. I don't know why we have another cell there. There we go. That was odd. I don't know where that came from. And then we can just kind of move that over. Okay. So now we have our red chevron. Now obviously we want to write something over this, and we can't write something over this because this is a pretty bright red. So we want to go ahead and click on format for this, and we want to click on correction. And let's go ahead and make this much lighter, a brightness of 40 and a contrast. Then we want to click on color, and we want to click on saturation, and we can go ahead and click on the saturation of 33%. Okay. Now what we want to do is we want to add our text. So let's go ahead and insert a text box, and let's draw a text box, and let's go ahead and draw it right here. Now this text box by default is going to go white, so we know that this text box is selected because we see these little boxes around there. We want to click on format, and then we want to do a shape fill of no fill, and we want to do a shape outline of no outline. Okay. Now we can write Matt's book of coupons, and we'll do the love in a second. Okay. And we want to go to home, and the font I used is called Great Day Personal Use. I love this font. I found it recently, and I am starting to use it for almost everything. And this is a 28-point font, and we're going to go ahead and center this. Now, as you can see, this doesn't totally fit, and that's because if we go ahead and click on here, the line spacing added additional spaces. So what we want to click in here is go to line spacing options. So again, I highlight this, I'm on the home tab, and I click over to here under paragraph for line spacing options, and I click on line spacing options, and you want to be sure this is 0 and this is single. Okay, and that's going to bring that up. Okay. And if you wanted to add more additional space in between, you can always just kind of add maybe 36 point in between there. Okay, now what I want to do is I want to, and if you saw what I did there, this is a 28-point font, and all I did to add more space in between these two was I just made the font bigger. If you wanted to, you could make it smaller, and you can see how that kind of moved it up and moved it down. Kind of up to you in terms of playing with the spacing and what you like and want to use. Okay. Next thing we want to do is add the love for the love coupons. So we want to go ahead and click on insert. Oops. I'm going to go ahead and click on insert, and we want to go, and if you saw what happened is this was clicked on the text box. So I don't want to draw a text box on top of there. You want to click outside, or maybe click in this cell so you see where the cursor is right up here, And then we want to do insert text box, and we can draw a text box, and let's just draw it here. And let's type in love, okay? And let's go ahead and highlight this, and let's go to home. And the font I used for that is MF Love Song. And this is a 72-point font, okay? I want to then, I want to then take this text box and I want to move it up here. Okay. But I also want to format this text box, and of course I want to do my shape fill of no fill and my shape outline of no outline. And I want to click on here, and I want to click on home, and I want to change that font to this color. And what I did is I clicked on more colors, and I found this kind of reddish pink. I believe that was, nope, right there. That's that kind of reddish pink, and you can kind of go into the different standard colors, or you can go into custom and play with whatever colors you want. But that's the color I used. Okay. Next thing I did was I added that little kiss. Okay. So I want to go back up here, and I want to type in kiss.png. What the PNG is, and I can go ahead and click on, and I believe this was it. What the PNG is do you see this little gray and white checkered in the background? That means there is no white background. That means all you're going to get are the lips, okay? Versus if you see something like this, this is white background. So when you import this image, you're going to have this white background with it, which is not what we want. Okay, we want this with the gray and white checkered. So from here, we're going to do a save picture as, and we'll do kiss, and we'll save it in our coupon folder. And we're going to go back to Word, and again, you got to click in a different cell. And again, if you see, I'm clicking in this cell here, and I can very easily move it up, and I want to do insert picture, and here's our kiss. And once again, you want to do this, and you want to say in front of text, or you can right click, wrap text in front of text. Different ways of doing it. We want to make this smaller, and as you can see, we don't have that white background. And you can go ahead and just move this around and kind of play with it. And if you see up here, you can move your cursor up to this little circle, and you can move this any way you want. Make it look any way you want. Okay. All right, so now that we have the cover of our book done, let's go ahead and create the love coupons. First thing we want to do is we want to go ahead and click into this text box. And actually, let's first, before we type in the text, let's first add our shape, and let's add this line. So let's go Shift, hold down the Shift key, right click, and draw your line. And now as you can see, if you're holding down the Shift key, no matter where you move the cursor, it's going to keep that line straight. And that's why you want to hold down the Shift key. Keep holding the Shift key down and then let go of your cursor. And that will put in a perfectly straight line for you. Then you want to click on Format, Outline, and we want to make that white. And let's go ahead and make the weight. And again, you want to click on the format. You want to ensure that that line is selected, and we can see the two little white squares, shape outline of white. And then we want to change the weight of that to 2 1/4. Next thing we want to do is we want to insert a shape, and we want to insert a heart. Again, where you saw that, insert shape, and we want to insert a heart. And we can just go ahead, insert a shape, insert a heart, and then we can just go ahead and draw that. And the reason why I had to do that multiple times is this was still selected when I tried to draw the shape, and that's the reason why it didn't do it. So you have to, again, ensure that you click inside the cell before you insert the heart. Okay. And then from here, you can just kind of change that. And I want to click on Format, and I want to do a shape fill of this pink and a shape outline of red, or this hot pink. And then from here, you can right click and say copy. And again, you want to click so this cursor is up in this cell, and you want to do a paste. And then from here, you can simply move that on over. Okay. Now what we want to do is we want to insert, we want to click in the cell. Again, you see that cursor up in that cell, and then we want to insert a text box, and we want to draw our text box. Okay. And once again, we want to do a shape fill of no fill and a shape outline of no outline. And we want to write love coupon, good for. And let's go ahead and go to the home. Again, we want to highlight this and go to home. And we want to go to our line spacing options. And once again, we want to do 0 and single to move that up. And then we want to change the love coupon. The font I used for that was Paris Match Regular. And the font size is 48. And obviously that is centered. Okay. And I'm just moving the text box with my cursor. And then the good for, again, I want to center that. And that is just Calibri Light, and that is a 20-point font. Okay. And then finally, you can just, in the same text box, press enter a few times. Breakfast in bed. And we want to highlight this. And again, this font that I absolutely love is the Great Day Personal Use. And the size of that is 36. Okay. And we could change this to a lowercase. Breakfast in bed. Okay. And then from here, you can simply, let's actually move this over. Click here. So click on the heart, hold down the shift key, click on the line, hold down the shift key, click on the heart, hold down the shift key. While you're still holding on to the shift key, you right click and you want to say group. Okay, now that is one, oops. And then you want to say, actually, let's do this. I apologize, I did not group everything. Let's bring that to front. And then you want to click on there. And then you want to right click and you want to say group to group everything together. And the only difference I did is you actually do need to release the shift key when you do that group. Okay. Now that you did that, you can simply right click, click on copy. And then you can move this back up here. And you can click into here and you can do a paste. And you can click in here, and again, that cursor's right there, and you can do a paste. Okay. And then from here, you can right click on this text box and click on copy, click on here, and then do a paste. And you can obviously change this to sleeping in. We can move this down. And then you can right click into here and you can do a paste. And we want to do you in an argument, which my husband would love. And then we can click on here. Now, if you want to move this text box around in a fine-grained manner, you can hear that I'm doing clicking and it's moving. What you want to do is ensure that this text box is selected. We know it's selected because we can see these little white boxes around it. You can use the arrow keys on your keyboard to move it around in a very fine-grained fashion. Okay. Finally, if we want to add these borders, you could have done this first, you could do these last, but basically all you do is you want to, oops, undo. Let's actually move this text box over because you want to click in to the cell and you want to do insert shape. And what we want to do is we want to insert rounded rectangle. And then from here we can just do this all around there. And we want to click on format. We want to do a shape fill of no fill. I want to do a shape outline of white. And we want to do a weight of 2, let's do a 3. And then we want to do more lines. Okay. What I did for this one was I did rounded, and you want to ensure that that is round. Okay. And actually I think I made these a little bit bigger. I think those were 4.5 point fonts. Okay. And again, as you can see here, I just changed the width to 4.5. And that is a dash line. And again, this is round. Okay. From here, you can very easily right click on this, copy, and then you can go back over and click on the text box and move this over. And then we can, again, we have to move this text box over so we can click over here, right click, and we want to do paste. But maybe instead of the rounded corner, maybe you just want a regular and you want to make this 2 and 2.75, right? 2 3/4, okay? And then you could also kind of move this down. And again, you can move this down by using the arrow keys on your keyboard to move this around in a very fine-grained fashion. And then finally, you can click into this box, right click, and you can do a paste. And again, I think with this one, I did these lines right here. And again, rather than square, which is a little too much, I did the rounds. And I think I made these 4 point, okay? And obviously, you can click and move this around. And again, you can use the arrow keys. And that's how you can very easily create these little love coupon books. I hope you found this useful. If you did, please like this video on YouTube and or like any of all my videos and subscribe to my channel. I do monitor the chat lines, so please feel free to write in any comments. If you have any suggestions for upcoming videos, please let me know. Thanks so much.